This is LBC, leading Britain's conversation with Petrie Hoskin. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850. Petrie Hoskin on LBC.
And a very good morning to you. It is Petrie here with you for the next couple of hours this New Year's Day, and a very happy new year to you. I'm very pleased to see the back of 2014. I can't tell you why, but blimey, am I pleased it's gone. I'm very excited about 2015 though. Coming up in the next couple of hours, divorce laws should be tougher on women because apparently all we've got to do is find a rich man, get married and never do a day's work in our lives. So we'll be looking at that a little bit later on. We'll also be checking out the New Year's Eve fireworks when we know the tickets were sold for £10, but they were on sale last night for 200 quid a pop. Also catching up on the very latest on the Air Asia crash. A very good morning to you. In about 15 minutes' time, we'll have Martin Daubney here, who's going to be going through I can see him through the window. He's working very hard going through the papers for you this morning, so you can stay tucked up in bed with your bacon sandwich and your cup of tea. Right now, though, I want to talk to you about home owning. Now, I'm aware that I'm incredibly lucky that I'm the age I am and was able to buy the property I was able to buy, because learning today that families in booming towns in the southeast have seen their homes soar in value by up to £2,000 every month since David Cameron became Prime Minister. I'm not sure it's down to David Cameron, but it's certainly happened since then. Homeowners in Surrey and Hertfordshire and outer London have enjoyed a 4-year property boom, far outstripping the rest of the country. But over the same time, deprived towns in West Yorkshire, County Durham and Northumberland have seen house prices fall by thousands of pounds, trapping families in negative equity, which is not what anybody wants to see for anybody. But the question I'm asking you this morning is, have you given up on owning property? We're almost unique, I think, in Britain, in the whole of Europe, in that we do see home owning as the only way to live. I've spent a lot of time living in countries like Germany where it's never been It's not really number one priority. It never seems to be the thing to do. Young people in Germany very happy to rent, or parents build homes with a little flat attached to them or whatever. It doesn't seem that owning is the only way to go. But in Britain, of course, we've been told that every man's home is his castle and that owning is the best way to behave, best way to spend your money. So have you given up ever owning a home? I was talking to one of my producers yesterday who said that he and his wife, he's just got married, have indeed pretty much given up. They cannot see a way, even with two of them working in decent jobs, they cannot see a way that they will ever be able to own their own home, because as soon as they get any deposit saved up, the house prices go up as well. So I'd like to hear from you on this. Is it the only way to be? Are you content with renting? Do you see it as a waste of money? And if you are somebody from across the pond here, or no, across the water here, and you are from Europe, the rest of Europe, give us a call. I'd like to hear from you if you're a German or a French person who just thinks it's a bit weird that we all have to own a property here because you've never thought about it. 0345 6060 973. Well, with me now is Jonathan Davis, who's the economist and wealth manager. Jonathan, a very good morning to you.
Happy New Year, Petrie.
Happy New Year to you. Well, it is happy for me because I own a house and I have done for many years. So I'm all right, but I am aware that a lot of people will never be in the fortunate position that I'm in.
Indeed, the next generation are economically toast as a result of this. The question you're posing is, have people given up on buying property? No, not at all. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, anyone can Google it, shelter is the most basic of need, obviously. Yeah. So everyone would love to buy a home, but the reason why they don't, particularly in the southeast of England, which I believe is where you're based,
yep,
is because the prices are too darn high.
I couldn't buy a house now. I couldn't buy the house I'm in now.
Exactly. And that is because of successive government and central bank policies deliberately to raise house prices. It's quite ugly. It's entirely self-serving, and it doesn't help the economy or society in the long term. I must correct you on one basic fundamental point. It is absolute, utter rubbish that the UK is effectively unique in that we all want to buy our own home. Actually, the UK is now the 16th in the EU for percentage owner occupation.
Because I mean, I've spent many, many years in my youth in Germany, and with people, young people of my own age, who were just like, "No, I'm never going to buy." It's just not. It wasn't in their consciousness at all to buy. It was something that was never going to be something they ever needed to think about. But
Germany.
they had
As
rent.
I say, the UK is now the 16th in percentage owner occupation. The reason why the Germans have a different view is because the German politicians have never made it a policy to raise house prices. And indeed, for the last 15 or 20 years, house prices have been flat or maybe marginally up. Therefore, there's been no impetus to get on that mythical ladder. I think it's very important that we differentiate between London and the southeast and the rest of the country.
Yes, I agree.
Your producer and his wife that you talk about, they're absolutely correct. Of course, it's financially impossible to quote, buy, unquote, that property in the southeast because they're not buying. They'd be having massive debt to do so. The bank would actually be buying it. Whereas outside of the southeast, it's perfectly reasonable and possible to buy property. You say in very morbid tones, "Oh, how terrible house prices are falling in the north." Well, actually, it's absolutely fantastic for the majority of folk because
not those in negative equity.
I was in the future will be able to.
Jonathan, I was being in morbid tones for those in negative equity, which nobody would want, would they? We wouldn't wish that on anyone, would we?
Well, no one forced those people to take out those vast loans in 2005, 2006.
I was just trying to be a little bit empathetic on New Year's Day. Listen, when you talk about the southeast,
I'm trying to be realistic.
Is there a situation though with supply and demand? You blame governments for it, but the reason house prices in the southeast are higher is not because more people want to live here.
That is a factor.
Right.
I'll come to that in a moment. There are 700,000 empty properties in England and Wales, not counting Scotland and Northern Ireland. 700,000. Look, if we didn't have successive governments and central banks, as in the Bank of England, targeting house prices, in other words, stop intervening, ban Help to Buy, let the market set interest rates rather than these Marxists in the ivory tower in Threadneedle Street in the Bank of England setting the interest rate for the benefit of the minority rather than the majority, then house prices would fall. And I tell you, many of those hundreds of thousands of properties which are lying empty would go on the market. And therefore, the demand that you talk about, largely because of the immigration, I tell you, that would soak up the properties coming in the market.
Jonathan Davis, thank you very much indeed, economist and wealth manager, suggesting that actually house prices do need to fall, and as such, those 700,000 empty homes would then be forced back onto the market. Have you given up ever